Hello, Luke. Could you give an introduction about yourself?
Of course. My name is Luke Oliver Orr. I'm an 18-year-old South African, and I made $2,600 in 1 month from the content creation campus inside the real world.
Okay, love your energy. Now, you say South Africa. Were you born there?
Yes, I was. I was born here.
Okay, I'm born and raised in South Africa. How is it over there?
It's nice. The weather's nice, but there's a lot of issues like crime. It's not very
Mhm.
safe. But yeah, it's I enjoy it here. I like it here.
Alright. I heard about the crime issue as well for quite a few people
Mm.
living in South Africa. So, is it somewhere you're planning on staying? Do you plan on moving out? Are there any countries you want to move to?
I think ideally in the long run, I wouldn't want to stay here, but in the short term, I'll definitely have no plans in moving out here so far. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. And going back to the real world, then you said 2,600 from the content creation and AI campus. How did you actually end up finding out about the real world? What led you to joining? Why did you choose the CC and AI campus?
Well, starting off, I think the way I found the real world was I remember I had a friend in school, and I remember sitting in class next to him, and he was on his laptop doing something, and I was like, "Oh, what you doing?" And he was like, "Oh, I joined the real world. I'm in the copywriting campus," and like I didn't have enough money at the time to join it. And so for the whole year, I saved up to get my subscription, and then late September I joined. And I already had an affiliation to like that content creation sort of thing. I really enjoyed sort of that aspect of sort of creating content, and it drew me in. And after that, I went through inside the content creation campus. We have two paths: the white path and the gold path. White path is generally faceless, where you sort of offer a ad creation service, whereas the gold path you talk to camera and sell products talking to the camera. And after about a month on the white path, I decided it wasn't for me, and I went down the gold path, and it's history from there.
And do explain. So you learned, you can call it influential speaking techniques or on camera techniques. And from there, how did you actually end up landing clients? What was the process there?
Well, the first client was actually quite a funny story, and I recommend it to many people inside the gold path. I literally used to buy gifts from a company, and I decided, okay, well, they sell like personalized things. This is perfect to make UGC, and I noticed they didn't have UGC, so I literally just got I think it was the director's email with like the CEO, and I emailed them saying, listen, here's some like examples of what I can show, like energy and like portraying an authenticity to customers. I can make this video for you as long as you send me a product. And, after that, they said, yeah, sure. We got on a call, we organized it. They sent me a personalized, I think it was a wallet. Yeah, a personalized wallet. I made a video and they ran it as an ad on Instagram. And it built a really good relationship because now they want me to start making more. So
Hmm.
with the rest of the clients, I'm not a very I don't really like email, obviously because I'm quite young. I don't We sort of moved out of from email, so I more use Instagram, just going through and seeing all the ads they're running. If a company has UGC, it's pretty much an easy win because you know that they're interested in that type of stuff.
Hmm. And for Instagram, how many outreaches do you average before actually getting a client?
Well, I try to every day I try average about 50 outreaches, and maybe about often 100 or 150 outreaches actually stick, but a lot of them are like mixed. So some are mass volume and some of them are very personalized. So
Mhm.
some could just be sent this like a copy and paste, and some of them are really like sort of like personalized to the brand. So I would say about 150 of those are mixed.
Okay. And now, in terms of clients, how many are you working with? Just for
At the
perspective.
moment, at the moment, I think I'm working around with around five clients, and
Very solid.
I've got about four on the way for January.
Okay. So it's quite sustainable then as well, the income you're making. What are you projecting in terms of how much it's going to increase? How are you going to scale it?
Well, in terms of scaling, what I've noticed a lot of people do is they start working with agencies or they go down the path of even starting their own agency. So, in terms of scaling, I mean, I still have a hell of a lot of free time. So, I'm not sitting there creating videos and have tons of clients every day. So, there's so much room for improvement in the sense of scaling. I could be busy every day and with a new client. And in terms of scaling, I think the ultimate goal with UGC is turning it into a personal brand. Um, you know, instead of directing sales for another company, you could direct sales to your product in that sense, because you got the talk on camera skills from UGC.
For sure, that does seem to be where the future is heading. Bringing in as much attention as you can to your brand and then monetizing the audience. Okay. Well, we're in an attention economy, is what Tate says, something like that.
So. Yeah.
Fair enough. All right, and in terms of average day, then, how has that changed from before you joined the real world, and how different is it now?
Well, the average day changed actually quite a bit because now I found myself more busy with productive stuff throughout the day rather than doing mindless stuff like social media. So before I used to, wake up and you scroll through your phone and you watch a few videos. Now I wake up and the first thing that's on my mind is train, go to gym. And I go to gym and then it's basically get on the real world, help out some people, start outreaching, maybe make some videos, talk to the camera. Whereas before it was like I said, just wake up, scroll through your phone for like an hour or two, and then okay, well maybe I'll go to gym today. I'm not feeling too well. It was like kind of a optional thing now. Whereas now it's like I need to do it, and then it wasn't really a productive day. I didn't get anything done that was helping me. Yeah, maybe I saw some friends. If I was in school, I was studying, but it wasn't something that was helping me get money.
All right. And now you're saying training, productive, and even just monetarily, you're saying you were struggling to get $50 together, whereas now you have 2,600 in 1 month.
Yeah.
So quite the drastic
Yes.
difference there. So
Yeah. Yes, I
what
actually
do you plan
remember
on
asking
doing
one of the professors
with
that.
that
Yeah.
money then? So, as in, again, just in a month, you've made that amount. So, which is quite considerable considering before. So, any plans for what you're going to
I
do with it?
think with the money, the first thing, and I've already started it, is investing in creating better UGC. I've bought a microphone. I'm going to start buying some more lights and more soundproofing. And the first thing I have planned, and this money is all going to go to either subscription or in general just investing it all into creating better content to sort of attract more brands, make it more professional.
Makes sense. Completely makes sense. And what do your parents think about what you're doing? Because then they've probably seen quite a drastic change in you as well.
Yes, yeah. So they definitely have noticed a lot of changes, not just from a money side, but obviously changes in me from a person because the real world has had a huge effect, positive effect on me. And I think if I had to be quite honest, they see it as more as a temporary thing, whereas like I'm doing this before I go to university or college, and that this is going to be dropped. But they definitely are happy with it because it is a substantial amount of money. But I think they think it's more of a temporary thing before, like a side hustle that that won't grow into something bigger. Sorry, excuse me.
Sure. So that's something you'll need to prove to them that they're going to continue scaling and that this is sustainable long term.
Yes, obviously have to show it. Obviously, it's been about a month of like wins. It hasn't been something a longer term, so it does sort of look something like something temporary. But I'll have to scale it and keep growing.
All right, makes sense. Okay. Then, in terms of learning material, within the real world. How different do you think is it compared to if you were trying to learn all of this online?
Well, the real world, the one thing I've noticed is that the real world compacts the important information into one place. So you can go online and learn all these things. However, you're going to notice that there's a lot of unnecessary like additions to the information, or sometimes you just might get misinformed. And on top of that, if you were to watch the stuff on YouTube or even anywhere else, or even um, anywhere online, like read an article, you don't actually have that one to one help. So the reason I contribute my success is that yes, I could have learned UGC online, but the one thing that contributed to my success was the feedback that others gave me and that I improved. And I could go ask one of the captains or one of the professors, like, hey, I'm struggling here. I've outreached 100 times. I can't get this right. Please take a look. And they'll say, this is what you're doing wrong. And then that's what contributed to my success. Whereas online, if you go onto YouTube, you can't really get that type of feedback from someone who is successful in that.
Right. And how insane is it? They get all of that for $50.
Yeah, it's
I think
definitely it's a
you're the
deal.
one scamming them, Luke.
Yeah,
All right.
I agree with that.
Let's see then. Since you're on this trajectory, where do you see your life heading in the short term, medium term, and long term?
Well, short term, if we had to talk maybe in the next year, I would most likely not be going to any type of university for the obviously sort of taking a year gap and focusing on completely creating UGC and even maybe expanding it out into something a bit bigger like a personal brand. And in the medium term, I would definitely want to take that step further and creating something bigger than just creating ads for UGC. Because I do realize there's a cap on, to a certain extent, how much you can make. But
Mhm.
but at the same time, medium term, I would like to grow something bigger, and maybe long term, even just sort of go down the path of helping other people, and sort of with my success. If like teaching them what helped me, and sort of like a professor in a sense, where they became successful, and they also want to help other people become
Mhm.
successful.
The hero's journey. Don't know if how uh, what's the word? How familiar you are with that, but that's basically what you just said. So the hero goes out, conquers challenges, goes through a lot of adversity, then finds a mentor to help them, then overcomes it, and then he goes back to the so-called village and teaches them what he's learned.
Oh wow. I
Yeah,
actually didn't
something
know
like that.
about like the
But yeah,
whole
it's just
hero's
basically the
journey
hero's
like that.
journey. Pardon?
Wow. I didn't even know about like the whole hero's journey thing. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
pretty
So it's
pretty
like there's
interesting.
a cycle there, and you're basically going to be at the end point of actually then teaching others what you've learned.
Oh, great.
Then we can even begin now with your teaching. So, what advice would you have to people who are just starting out with UGC?
My advice would be is look at others. The one thing that we start to realize is that when you look at yourself, you begin to realize you think you're perfect. You think you've done everything perfect. But when you look at others, you can notice the small things that they are getting wrong. And when you look at others, you start realizing, oh, I'm also doing that. And you can actually improve yourself by looking at others' examples, um, and sort of pinpoint, oh, maybe they said a wrong word or the English was bad. You might say, I'm not going to do that in the future with my videos. And, you can improve like that. And in terms of getting wins, it takes repetitions. It takes volume. You just got to keep practicing, keep trying, keep working because like Tate says, hard work sort of you can never fail if you work hard.
Mhm.
So
I guess that I'm just saying random things though. So Newton's law: for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So Tate says, all anything you put out into the universe eventually will come back to you. So all that effort will come back, and sometimes even
mm,
exponentially. To be fair.
yes, yes.
So yeah, as long as you don't give up. Cool. Then, what kind of an impact has Tate had on you?
Well, I think the biggest impact for that Tate has had on me is realizing that you should you shouldn't. The biggest thing is like a whole respect thing. So it's quite of a it's quite a strange dynamic. You see Tate online, and he's like a very he's a very like very outspoken person, and he said in one of his recent podcasts, or I think it was George in the George Janko one, he said, "Oh, you punch and then here's the knowledge." Whereas like a lot of people just punch and like there's nothing. That's what Tate does. He says something like quite like hard, and then he sort of provides you with some sort of value, substance, you know. And the one thing I've learned is that from that is that you know we can't we what we see from an outside perspective is not always what a person is like, and you know learning how to be positive in the way that you don't like degrade your own morals. So if you look at Tate, like he will have a conversation with someone who he completely disagrees with, but he will never disrespect them, and he will never like degrade his own morals. So I could be seeing across someone who I completely disagree with, but I don't belittle them. I don't say anything that would be harmful to them. But I stick by what I say, and I stand up for what I say, and you know I don't let anyone change my opinion on something, and that's really had a huge impact, sort of, in the grand scheme of things.
Mhm. Good. That's good to hear. I don't have anything else to add, but it just helps you develop character for sure. Listening to tape, completely agree with that. Then I'm happy to end off with a final question. So, for people who are unsure about joining the real world because they're thinking it could be a scam, what advice would you have for them?
If you think the real world is a scam, it's really not. Loads of people have made lots of money, including myself, and we are the living proof of it. So if you really want to go for a scam, then you can go to any like online shopping place where you think you need the product, which is not going to actually add any value to your life. If you want to get scammed, you can go there. If you want to get scammed, you can go to Starbucks. You can go to any of these places that are charging you ridiculous prices for nothing that's actually adding a long term value. But if you want to add long term value to your life, then join the real world. What are you waiting for?
Hmm. Exactly. Okay, very good answer. And for people who want to find out more about you or contact you, where can they do so?
They can contact me on Instagram. I'm sure you, Rokas, you'll have my Instagram linked, and that's my main place. I operate off.
Okay, will be in the description of the video, so anyone interested can check there. And yeah, Luke, you're very well spoken.
Great.
Clearly, UGC put in an reaping the rewards of going through the UGC campus from the looks of it. Then, interesting story. Only 18 years old, and already in a month you've earned 2,600. So definitely so much potential there for the future as well. Which means during the follow up, I'm gonna have to hold you accountable and make sure you're scaling that. And yeah, look
100%.
forward to that follow up. And until then, I wish you all the best.
Thank you, Rokas.